Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Jake, and welcome to MLB The Show 24 franchise mode with the Cincinnati Reds. Obviously, I haven't actually gone into the franchise menu, so maybe if you didn't read the title of the video, you would have no idea who I was choosing. But we're going to be doing the Reds today. Um, Before I actually dive in and get started in introducing this franchise, which I'm very excited to do, I wanted to go over one thing real quick. So, right now, this is the default roster, which is why Noelvi Marte's here. If you're getting this game now, it is officially kind of the pseudo opening day as the Padres and the Dodgers play in Korea. And um, this morning, obviously, I think they're like a day ahead of us, so it's at night for them. At least I think that's how it works. But um, so since it is officially opening day, well, sort of. If you were to have the live roster, obviously not everyone's going to be using the Reds, but guys like Noelvi Marte would be out because he is currently suspended for PEDs right now. Um, MLB The Show does this thing where if a guy gets suspended for any kind of misconduct, they take his likeness completely out of the game until his suspension is served. Fernando Tatis wasn't in the game at the beginning last year. Noelvi Marte now. I don't know. I don't like how they do it like that because it's like they're coming back and you're just going to put his likeness right back in the game when his suspension is served. They did the same thing with Tatis. I remember last year I imported a created version of Tatis that had his ratings from the show 22, so it's really not that hard to get around. It's just a little annoying. But as much as I defend MLB The Show, it is my favorite. The sports franchise games like Madden, 2K, NHL. I don't really play. FIFA. I don't really play. People still give this game hate because they don't think it goes into enough detail with some of the prospects. They're going to miss guys here and there. They get the main ones, like here's Paul Skeens, for example. Obviously, his likeness isn't actually rendered in, but I don't know. I still think they do a really good job. However, they were missing some guys, like off the top of my head, like the Red Sox were missing two of their top prospects, and so off camera in preparation for this, I've done this multiple times. I've actually started franchises and realized I was missing key players like international free agent signings or trades. There was a franchise I had started the first try, and I forgot to do the Dylan Cease to the Padres trade, and I had CPU roster control off, so I couldn't do it, and so I had to restart. And then I had another one where I was like thankfully not far in. I was only like a game or two in, and I realized I did not import Jung Ho Lee for the Giants, who was the second biggest international free agency signing this year. So, and then I also realized there's some prospects for some teams I was missing. So, with the help of some of these other rosters here, like these ones were for the prospects, this one helped with the international free agent guys. Um, and then here I can just show. Um, Let me load my roster real quick, and then I'll kind of show you. So this one, obviously, Noelvi Marte's here, um, but let's go over to the Cubs. Shota and Managa is in this game. You can't have his name. His name is Shota, but you have to have it as show in here because if you add the TA, the game recognizes it as Shada or Shuda, and it flags it as inappropriate. But he's in the game now. His contract is accurate, 4 years, 53 million. And then the big one of the offseason, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, is also in the game. Can't do more than 10 years for creative player contracts, so 10 years, same dollar amount. And the Dodgers have endless pocketbooks, so it really doesn't matter. And then finally, for the last major international free agent signing, Jung Ho Lee, um, again, contract 6 years, 113 million. Everything is good there. And then obviously, like you saw at the top of the list of the Giants, Blake Snell is also on the team. Um, Trying to think of some other like I made sure I went in and I did all of the roster changes from like the last 30 days. So essentially that spring training preparation, like JD Davis, who got waived and picked up by the A's on a 1 year, $2.5 million deal. Um, Obviously, I'm a Reds fan, so I had to make sure Votto on the Blue Jays, even ones like CJ Cron, who signed a minor league deal with the Red Sox, Francisco Mejia on the Rays, Jake Odorizzi on the Rays. I made sure all these guys, if they signed minor league deals, I just did 1 year, $1 million. If they had deals other than that, like Ryan Stanek on the Mariners, for example, he signed like a 1 year, $4 million deal. And then the Pirates had some guys. They had Domingo Harmon, Eric Lauer, and then Michael A. Taylor. So basically, the gist of it is that I really tried to make sure that free agency and rosters were updated. Guys like Jordan Montgomery and JD Martinez have not been signed, so they're not on any rosters. Um, and they'll get picked up um, by the CPU maybe during the season, maybe not, who knows. Um, and then as far as prospects go, really there wasn't a ton of prospects missing. I actually went through MLB Pipeline's updated top 100 prospect list, and I went through every single one and see if they were in the game. And to my knowledge, I have all the top 100 prospects in here. Like some that were missing were like Roman Anthony, Marcelo Mayer on the Red Sox. They're now in here. There was a Yankee shortstop. Yeah, Roderick Arias that's in here now. Trying to think. Cole Emerson had really bad potential. He's up to an A potential because he's in that top 100. Um, I know the Royals' first pick this year was not in the game. Blake Mitchell, we got him in there now. The A's, I know Denzel Clark's like their second or third best prospect. He's not in the game originally. Now he is. Again, I did not create any of these players. These are all imported players. And basically, let's just say I wanted to export someone. Oh, nope. Import. I have all these guys save. Sebastian Walcott wasn't on the Rangers. He's on there now. Blake Mitchell, Denzel Clark, Hayden Wisniewski, a player that was here last year, is not in the game for whatever reason. He's on the Cubs. Trevor Bauer, you're seeing that correctly. Yes, he is in free agency. He is reinstated by the MLB in real life. So I got him in free agency in this. His service time and everything is accurate. I based his ratings off of his final MLB The Show 22 ratings. So yes, he's in free agency in this one. And then obviously you see some of the other guys. So not really a ton of players created. So, I'm sure there's teams like the Reds, for example. I know for a fact if I look at their top prospects, I don't have a couple of their top 10 guys, but I tried to make sure that most teams' top five or at least top three were in the game. And again, there's so many prospects in baseball that even you would think a game developer would have the time to get them in, but it's still a ton, like there's so many prospects. Every team has a top 30. There's more that goes into that. There's a top 100 for the whole league. So I don't know. I tend to cut MLB The Show a little bit of slack because there's just so much to deal with. And I have bias towards it because it's my favorite game series. But yeah, like I said, I really made sure to get the roster to try to make it as accurate to pseudo opening day as possible. So if you want to try my roster, literally all it's called is roster, and then you can find it under my gamer tag, which was in the top left corner on the home screen. These are the three rosters that I use to get some of the international free agent signings, as well as some of the prospects. And then if you wanted to download players or rosters, you just got to go into Vault, and there's tons of players in here. So I got some of those imported guys from here. So anyway, with all that out of the way, enough yapping. Let's get into this. Obviously, you can choose to start with current default rosters with injuries, which I don't know why people would do that. I guess if you're really trying to seek authenticity, you could do that. But I'm just going to load the roster that we were just looking at, um, and then we can go kind of team by team real quick. I just want to make sure, like Denzel Clark was the last guy imported, so yes, he's in here. Okay, yeah, everyone's in here. So let's just go team by team. Look at the ratings real quick. Orioles pretty good. Red Sox bad. Yankees good. Obviously they brought in Soto, big deal. Tampa Bay Rays without Franco. So like, yes, I got Trevor Bauer in the game because he has been reinstated. Wander Franco, who's a pedophile, probably and deservingly so, will never be reinstated in the MLB. So he's gone. So that definitely is a hit for them. But the Rays always develop well. They're a very good team. Um, in fact, their top prospect is a shortstop. So uh, Blue Jays pretty good. White Sox terrible. I'm surprised they're not the lowest. Guardians mid. Tigers surprised they're not higher. Royals pretty bad. Twins pretty good, but I think they're not the six best team in the in the MLB. Astros good as always. Angels bad as always. Poor Mike Trout. A's pretty bad. Mariners okay. Defending champ Texas Rangers. Fun fact: last June I put a bet down on the Rangers to win the World Series, and what 5 months later, 4 months later, it actually hit. Never done anything like that before. It was awesome. But defending champs are eighth. Braves totally stacked. Their first. Marlins mid. Mets, despite paying so much money to all their players, are mid. Phillies are good. Nationals bad. Cubs mid. Reds 21st. It's actually a little bit lower than I thought, but they're still banking on the upside of a lot of their guys. They don't have too many proven guys. They have a couple, but not really that many. But the upside is there. Brewers mid, Pirates mid, Cardinals not bad. Diamondbacks top 10 after going to the World Series. Rockies 30th. I thought the White Sox would be below them, but the Rockies are pretty terrible too. $360 million budget. Dodgers are second. And yeah, I'm surprised the Padres budget isn't bigger. Actually, who's got the smallest budget? The Reds so far. The Marlins had a smaller one. The A's 92 million, not even triple digits. Well, that's I guess that's 9 digits, but not even 9 digits. Okay. Enough looking at this stuff. Let's go ahead and select the beautiful Cincinnati Reds and get this thing started. So, GM contracts on, fantasy draft off, all this off. I'm going to keep this off because I am 100% sure I have the roster fine, and I'm not going to have to restart to make changes to the roster going into this opening day. So that is going to be off. Trading on, budgets off, ignore budgets off, force trades off, um, designated hitter on, extra inning runner on. I'm going to keep everything manual right now. I'll probably turn scouting to auto because, to be honest, I just try to hire good scouts and then go from there. Like, I don't do a very good job of deep diving into prospect scouting. So I'm going to keep it manual for now in case I want to have like an episode where we highlight scouting prospects. But don't be surprised if I change that to auto in the future. But these two, the general manager task and the manager task, will definitely be on manual at all times. And then this, I've kind of played around with this a little bit. Basically, depending on how high of importance in situations you can play, it'll show you on the right an estimate amount of game time or games that you will play based on the settings that you adhere to. Same thing if you just want to do player lock highlight moments, you can do that too. But I'm just going to skip this. I found playing this game, you can actually set those before the game too. Like say if you want to go into one game like, opening day, we're obviously going to play all 9 innings, but if you want to go down further down the line or maybe one of the episodes we have and I just want to do a high leverage moment, you can customize it before that game actually starts. So it's pretty nice in that regard. We're going to go ahead and start in spring training. Not really going to do a whole lot with the rest of this. Not going to sign anyone to extensions. I know it would probably make sense, or you know, it wouldn't exactly be unrealistic to just sign these guys to extensions now, but you have the opportunity to sign guys to contract extensions at the trade deadline prep, as it says on the right, which is a little bit after the All Star break. So I tend to wait to sign guys to extensions to see kind of how they're developing. Like, let's say Ellie is really coming along well and having a great year. Then it's like, okay, this dude's for real. Let's sign him to his extension. Or let's say Spencer Steer is really struggling. It's like, okay, maybe we'll hold off on signing him to extension because so many of our top prospects are in the infield, like Christian Encarnacion, Sal Stewart, Cam Collier, Noel V. Marte, Edwin Arroyo, stuff like that. So I'm going to hold off on contract extensions. Again, free agency, this is as accurate as I think possible because I went through the last, not only with the big notable free agency signings in the offseason, but also like the last month of spring training and leading up to spring training, looking at transactions. I think I got it all down. Again, Michael Lorenzen, all-star, still in here. Greinke, old-ass man, still in here. Tommy Pham still in here. Montgomery, kind of surprised he's not signed yet in real life. Same with JD Martinez, just because everyone needs a bat, and he still rakes. So surprised they haven't been signed. And then obviously I got Trevor Bauer, 86 overall, in there as well. So really, um, what I'm going to be doing off camera, because I don't want to bore you guys with any of this, but there's a couple things I'm really OCD about in baseball games or just sports video games in general. One of them is numbers. Perfect example, Jamer Candelario. How dare you wear number 19 when our glorious King Joey Votto? I hope the Reds retire that number. I really do. In real life, he's number 3, so that type of stuff like that. The one thing I don't like about MLB The Show, there's very little things I don't like about MLB The Show, but one of them is in other sports games with these numbers, it just gives you the available numbers and you pick from there. In this game, it's just the preferred numbers. You don't know if a number is taken or retired unless you actually go to look for it. So, although Jamer Candelario's preferred number was 9, it'll randomly, seemingly randomly, I know it picks a number that's relatively close to that preferred number, but sometimes it just like picks a completely different number. So I don't really like how that works, and it kind of fucks with my OCD with it because again, I'm just like really big, like numbers got to look right. Like if Ellie De La Cruz was out here wearing number 64, I would like no. Or Noel V. Marte wearing 93, you know? So that's something I'm kind of OCD about. Another thing is positions. So for example, can I think of someone off the top of my head for the Reds? Not really. I know of one that I can think of, and that is actually might deal with the Giants. Okay. Yeah. Slater. Okay, so like I'm just kind of spitballing an example here. So as you see here, we got a log jam in the outfield. Soler, Conforto, Jung-Ho Lee, Mike Yastrzemski, Austin Slater. Obviously, with the DH, you can kind of work around it, but just for an example, a case like this, their shortstop is extremely weak. Yes, they have their top prospect there, but he is not ready to play essentially yet. So normally what I would do is a guy like Chapman, his secondary position shortstop, move him over and then move one of these guys over. And essentially all I'm trying to do is make sure the best guys are playing for every team. Now again, MLB players have secondary positions, which obviously helps out with that. So they can play out of position too, but then it can get kind of wonky with all-star voting because here's an example on our team. Spencer Steer, who's going to be playing first base for us, if we were to shift him to second base, which he plays at times in real life, his primary secondary position he's going to play for us is left field. if we switch his position to second base and then he plays mostly left field, he's going to win a Gold Glove almost every year because he's going to lead second baseman in putouts by a mile. So I try to change guys' positions based on where they will play, um, both for playing time and for awards purposes. So I know it might sound weird, and I'm not going to bore you guys with doing that on camera because I'm not going to go through all 30 teams, change positions, and make sure no one's wearing funky numbers or having weird player models. Because here's an example: Yanquel Fernandez, who's like the Rockies' like third best prospect, looks like this. He looks nothing like that. So I'll obviously fix that off camera. So I guess you could call it housekeeping or whatever. But again, I'll do that off screen. But yeah, I don't really think there's much to talk about anymore. I'll get into kind of how I want to, you know, make the episodes work and what we'll be covering in each individual part next time. It'll just give us stuff to talk about during opening day. But yeah, like I said, I'll do most of that housekeeping stuff. Or no, I'm not going to do most of it. I'm going to do all the housekeeping stuff off camera. I'm going to sim through spring training game by game, um, because there's a chance that transactions can be made. So like some of those free agents can be picked up, and then injuries can happen. Um, Either for our team or other teams. So I don't want to just sim past it because that's a month of stuff that could happen. Um, so yeah, but again, I'll do that off camera. So next part will be on opening day, and we play the Nationals. So we'll take them on and see if we can win on opening day. And then obviously we'll talk about kind of how this series will be laid out. But wanted to get all this introduction stuff out of the way. I know it was a lot of rambling and going over rosters and stuff. Um, Again, if you want to use my roster, I'll probably upload it to the live servers and it'll be under my gamer tag there. Um, I kind of showed some of the other rosters I use as a reference. All I did was I loaded up the default roster so that guys like Noel V. Marte would be in there and then went from there. And it took a while and it's been through trials and tribulations, but I think it is perfect and ready to go for a franchise series. And I'm very excited for it. So, next time, we'll be doing opening day against the Washington Nationals, and we'll get this franchise um, officially underway. So look forward to that. I'll see you guys next time, and have a great day. Goodbye.